In the dim, undulating blue of the open ocean, a shadow flickers, stretching longer than any predator should, a whip-like appendage slicing through the water with an almost supernatural precision. It is the Thresher Shark, an apex hunter whose tail alone is longer than the rest of its body, a living harpoon forged by evolution. To look upon it is to witness a creature that feels both impossibly ancient and oddly alien, as if some cosmic error allowed it to survive where common sense and natural selection should have condemned it to oblivion. Unlike great whites or hammerheads, threshers do not rely on brute force, teeth, or speed. Instead, they wield their tails with devastating finesse, sweeping schools of fish into confusion before delivering a final, almost surgical strike. And yet, despite this masterful predation, the thresher is paradoxical. For all its evolutionary elegance, it thrives in a world that seems increasingly hostile to its very existence. Its long, slender body, designed for stealth, makes it ill-suited for shallow reefs where food is dense. Its oversized tail, perfect for whipping, is a liability when maneuvering in tight spaces. And its slow reproductive rate, giving birth to only a handful of pups after nearly a year of gestation, ensures that each misstep could edge the species closer to extinction. Scientists have long wondered why such an improbable predator not only survived but carved out a niche in the vast expanses of the oceans. Its lineage is ancient, tracing back more than 60 million years, a time when the seas were teeming with strange, towering predators that dwarfed even the most fearsome sharks alive today. Yet the thresher persists, a relic of that primordial era, retaining traits that, on paper, should have vanished under the ruthless pressures of evolution. Some biologists describe it as a living anachronism, a paradox of design that challenges our understanding of survival. Its eyes, enormous and haunting, hint at a sensory world beyond human comprehension, attuned to vibrations and faint glimmers of light in the inky deep. Its tail, a marvel of biomechanical engineering, can whip with such force that it stuns multiple prey in a single strike, a feat that seems almost cinematic in its cruelty and efficiency. But the ocean itself is changing. Warming currents, overfished waters, and the creeping advance of human activity threaten to erase these enigmatic hunters before we truly understand them. And yet, the thresher moves through these shifting waters with a ghostly grace, a creature out of time, dancing along the boundary between survival and extinction. Each dive into the depths reveals not just a predator, but a storyteller of evolutionary extremes, a testament to the strange compromises life makes in order to endure. Its very existence asks a question that lingers long after the creature vanishes from view. If evolution is a process of refinement and optimization, how did a predator so specialized, so improbable, navigate millions of years of planetary change and still persist? To trace its movements is to witness an exquisite tension between biology and improbability, a creature designed not for the easiest survival, but for the mastery of a singular skill, the lethal art of the tail strike. And yet, in this mastery lies vulnerability. For the thresher's brilliance is predicated on delicate balance. The precise timing of its strike, the seamless coordination of its tail, the perfect harmony of muscle and motion. Any disruption, a shift in prey populations, a new predator, or even human interference, could unravel the strategy that has kept it alive for millennia. As researchers venture further into the thresher's world, deploying remote cameras and tracking devices, they uncover more than behavior. They uncover whispers of an evolutionary narrative written in muscle, bone, and instinct, a story that challenges our assumptions about what is possible in nature. And yet, much remains a mystery. Despite modern technology, we cannot fully capture the subtleties of a tail strike, or the almost ritualistic elegance of hunting maneuvers that have evolved over tens of millions of years. There is a poetry to this predation, a choreography that seems at once purposeful and miraculous. And it is in this delicate interplay of form and function that the thresher asserts its existence against the odds. Some scientists have proposed that its improbable morphology, long tail, sleek body, and surprisingly small mouth, is a form of evolutionary experimentation, a gamble that paid off in deep, open waters where few competitors venture. Others argue that it is a product of constraints, a relic that survived because its particular skill set was so finely tuned to a niche that no other predator could exploit. Whatever the answer, The thresher remains a living contradiction, a creature that simultaneously embodies fragility and power, improbability and inevitability, an evolutionary riddle etched into the ocean currents. To watch one in the wild is to confront an unsettling truth. Nature's logic is not always linear, and survival does not always favor the seemingly optimal design. Sometimes, it rewards the bizarre, the eccentric, the outright implausible. And the thresher shark, with its whip-like tail and ancient eyes, swims at the heart of this paradox, a predator that should not exist, yet defiantly does, leaving humans to wonder whether our understanding of evolution is as complete as we'd like to believe, or if the ocean still guards secrets too strange for our comprehension. Beneath the sunlit surface, where light filters in fractured beams, the thresher shark's world is a place of both elegance and peril, a domain governed by physics and instinct. Its tail, a living extension of muscle and sinew, functions not merely as a weapon, but as a tool of astonishing precision, owned over millions of years of evolutionary trial and error. Scientists studying its mechanics have discovered that the tail acts like a whip, capable of accelerating at speeds exceeding 10 meters per second, delivering blows that are simultaneously gentle enough to manipulate prey and brutal enough to incapacitate multiple fish in a single sweep. This mastery is not accidental, it emerges from an intricate coupling of vertebrae, musculature, and hydrodynamics, a combination that allows the shark to transform a flexible appendage into a weapon of terrifying efficiency. Unlike the great white, which relies on sudden bursts of speed and sheer jaw strength, the thresher exploits its tail to herd, corral, and neutralize prey, turning schools of herring and mackerel into tightly packed clusters that it then slashes with devastating rhythm. Observation from remotely operated submersibles has revealed something almost ritualistic in this predation. The shark approaches at an angle, aligns its body with subtle shifts in current, and then, with the patience of a maestro, executes a strike whose violence is masked by the elegance of its movement. Yet beyond this visible brilliance lies an even more astonishing sensory adaptation. The thresher's enormous eyes are not merely for seeing. They are designed to capture faint glimmers of light, bioluminescence emitted by tiny organisms in the darkened depths. Through a combination of large lens size and retinal specialization, the shark can detect subtle contrasts in the swirling chaos of a fish school, identifying individual targets amidst hundreds of potential distractions. Its hunting strategy is a blend of biomechanics and neurology, a choreography orchestrated across millions of neurons that link tail, eye, and body in a seamless, almost preternatural harmony. But the thresher's life is not only a testament to predatory innovation, it is also a study in vulnerability. With only 2 or 3 pups per reproductive cycle, every failure carries weight. Every human interaction threatens a lineage that has been fine-tuned over eons. These sharks are slow to mature, reaching reproductive age at 8 to 12 years, meaning that any environmental disruption, a sudden drop in prey, a warming ocean current, or accidental entanglement in fishing gear can ripple through generations. Their survival is a delicate dance on the edge of improbability, a performance dictated as much by chance as by design. Yet even in the face of these vulnerabilities, the thresher demonstrates behaviors that defy simple categorization. Scientists have recorded instances of hunting that resemble cooperative tactics, the sharks weaving through schools of prey with movements that suggest an understanding of group dynamics, of leverage and momentum. It is as if the tail, the most conspicuous and ostensibly singular feature, has become a fulcrum for a far more complex behavioral repertoire, and there is evidence that the thresher shark's relationship with its environment extends beyond the immediate mechanics of predation. Its migrations, often spanning hundreds of kilometers, are timed to oceanic rhythms, following temperature gradients, plankton blooms, and seasonal movements of prey species. Satellite tagging has revealed patterns that are remarkably consistent across individuals, hinting at an innate navigational map encoded within their biology, a sixth sense that allows them to traverse vast, featureless waters with uncanny precision. Yet for all this sophistication, much about the thresher remains enigmatic. Deepwater studies show a divergence in behavior between juveniles and adults. Younger sharks exhibit more exploratory patterns, venturing closer to reefs and inshore waters, while mature individuals are largely pelagic, inhabiting mid-ocean expanses where encounters with humans are rare. These differences suggest that the species' improbable design may be a compromise between developmental stages, a juvenile form needing flexibility, and an adult optimized for open water lethality. The tail, disproportionately long and unwieldy in young sharks, becomes a tool of precision and power only after years of growth, as if evolution had deferred perfection until survival demands it. Biologists have also probed the thresher's energy economy, discovering that the whip-like tail is not just a weapon, but a mechanism for conserving effort. By using tail strikes to herd fish rather than chase them, the shark minimizes high-energy pursuits, an adaptation critical in the vast, prey-sparse regions it often inhabits. Here, in the open ocean, where every calorie is precious, the tail is both scalpel and lifeline, a multifunctional appendage that exemplifies evolutionary efficiency in its most improbable form. Yet, paradoxically, the very adaptations that make the thresher so successful also render it fragile. Its specialization for open water makes it vulnerable to bycatch, entanglement in drifting nets, and habitat changes induced by climate disruption, ocean warming, acidification, and the collapse of prey populations due to overfishing threaten to outpace the species' ability to adapt. For a predator whose design is predicated on balance, even minor ecological shifts can have catastrophic consequences. Scientists worry that these changes may soon expose the thresher's most fundamental vulnerability: the gap between its extraordinary adaptations and its slow, deliberate reproductive pace. In this sense, the thresher shark exists at a crossroads of biology and chance, a creature whose survival is dictated by a delicate interplay of skill, environment, and luck. But to fully understand its paradoxical existence, one must look deeper into the evolutionary history that shaped such a marvel. Fossil records suggest that early relatives of the thresher were far more generalized predators, lacking the dramatic tail elongation seen today. Over tens of millions of years, selective pressures, perhaps the emergence of new schooling fish species, or changes in ocean currents, favored individuals capable of manipulating prey in novel ways. The result is a lineage that carries both the legacy of its ancestors and the radical innovation that defines the species, a predator that defies the conventional logic of design. Behavioral studies reveal that the thresher's tail is not a mere instrument of destruction. It is also a communication tool, a device for signaling intent to conspecifics, establishing social hierarchy, and coordinating subtle interactions in ways that remain largely mysterious to human observers. Even in isolation, individuals engage in tail flicking that seems to regulate mood or readiness, suggesting a cognitive sophistication intertwined with physical adaptation. The more scientists observe, the clearer it becomes that the thresher is not just an evolutionary oddity, but a masterclass in improbable biology, a creature that balances energy efficiency, sensory acuity, predatory skill, and social behavior, all while navigating an environment that punishes deviation from the norm. And yet, the question persists: why does such a highly specialized, fragile predator continue to exist in a world of relentless competition and environmental flux? Its persistence is not merely a quirk of fate, but a demonstration of nature's capacity for improbable solutions, an experiment in evolutionary architecture that challenges our understanding of survival, design, and adaptation. It swims along the knife edge of probability, an organism that should have been eliminated countless times in the turbulent course of natural history, yet it endures. In this endurance lies both fascination and warning, a reminder that evolution produces marvels that are not always perfect, sometimes perilous, and occasionally inexplicably enduring. As researchers continue to peel back the layers of its behavior, physiology, and ecological role, the thresher shark remains a living testament to the strange, wondrous, and sometimes terrifying intricacies of life beneath the waves, a creature whose improbable existence compels us to reconsider the boundaries of possibility in the natural world. Yet even as the thresher shark glides through the blue expanse with ghostly grace, a shadow looms over its improbable existence. The ocean is no longer the vast, undisturbed wilderness it once was. It has become a theater of human influence, where overfishing, pollution, and climate change dictate the survival of even the most finely tuned predators. Entanglement in longlines and gillnets, once a rare misfortune, is now a persistent threat, reducing populations in ways evolution never accounted for. Satellite tracking has revealed a sobering truth. Some populations are declining at rates that mirror the slow, deliberate reproduction of these sharks, creating a scenario in which a single human mistake, a net left drifting, a school of fish over-harvested, can ripple through generations, unraveling millions of years of evolutionary persistence. The irony is striking. The very specialization that allowed the thresher to conquer the open ocean, to wield its tail as both scalpel and lifeline, now becomes a liability in a changing world. Conservationists struggle against the invisible tide of decline, attempting to safeguard habitats and regulate fishing practices, but the shark's low reproductive output and elusive nature make protection a challenge. It is a creature that defies our usual measures of resilience, thriving in improbability yet threatened by the smallest disturbances. And yet, even in the face of these modern perils, the thresher persists, a relic and a warning. Its existence is a narrative of evolutionary gamble and ecological fragility, reminding us that survival is never guaranteed, that even the most perfectly adapted predators are vulnerable to rapid environmental change. There is a haunting poetry to this. The whip of the tail that once ensured life now cuts against the currents of human interference, a subtle but relentless force pushing the species toward the brink. In studying the thresher, scientists uncover not only behavior and biomechanics, but also a profound lesson in ecological balance. Each hunting strike, each migration, each carefully calculated leap of the tail is a page in a story written over tens of millions of years, a story now intersected by an entirely new force, one that evolution did not predict. Some researchers have begun to frame the thresher as a symbol, a mirror, reflecting both the elegance and the fragility of natural design. Its improbable morphology, perfected over millennia, now faces extinction not from competition or predation, but from the indirect consequences of humanity's reach, forcing us to confront the limits of our stewardship and the consequences of disrupting the intricate web of life. Philosophically, the thresher challenges our assumptions about what it means to be fit in evolutionary terms. Survival is not always about brute strength, reproductive output, or versatility. Sometimes it is about improbability, specialization, and the narrow, precise mastery of a skill honed to perfection. And sometimes, even mastery is not enough to overcome the unpredictable forces of a rapidly changing planet. Observing the thresher, we are reminded that evolution is not a narrative of inevitability, but a fragile tapestry of chance, adaptation, and endurance. It is a lesson in humility, a quiet admonition that life's most extraordinary marvels are neither indestructible nor guaranteed. Yet there is also hope embedded in this tale. Conservation efforts, though challenging, have shown that protection of critical habitats, regulation of fishing practices, and the study of migration patterns can create lifelines for these extraordinary predators. By understanding the intricate mechanics of their tails, the subtle choreography of hunting, and the delicate rhythms of reproduction, humans may find ways to coexist with a species that is at once miraculous and improbable. The thresher shark, in its defiance of logic and survival against odds, becomes more than a predator. It becomes a symbol of resilience, a living testament to the astonishing complexity of life, and a reminder of our responsibility to safeguard it. As we reflect on the thresher's story, we begin to see a broader narrative about the ocean itself, a realm that is both ancient and fragile, teeming with creatures whose very existence defies explanation, yet whose survival depends on balance, stewardship, and awareness. The thresher's whip-like tail becomes a metaphor for life's precarious beauty, a line drawn between the miraculous and the fragile, between endurance and extinction. And in that delicate tension, there is a lesson for humanity: to marvel at the improbable, to respect the fragile, and to recognize that our actions ripple through a world more interconnected than we often realize. In the final analysis, the thresher shark should not exist, and yet it does, persisting in the open ocean, as both a wonder of evolution and a cautionary tale. Its presence challenges our notions of possibility, illustrating that nature often chooses paths that seem improbable, even impossible, to our limited human perspective. The whip of its tail, the ghostly sweep through schools of fish, the ancient design of its eyes, all speak of a story that spans millions of years. A story that continues to unfold beneath the waves in silent testimony to life's ingenuity. As darkness falls over the ocean and the thresher drifts into the depths, it leaves behind a profound reflection. Life, in all its forms, is a tapestry of improbability, a fragile equilibrium sustained through time, chance, and adaptation. Its existence forces us to confront the mystery of survival and to question the very nature of what it means to endure in a world defined by both wonder and peril. And so, the Thresher Shark swims on, an enigma, a marvel, and a living lesson in the astonishing, improbable persistence of life.